Hey everybody, welcome to the Ideas to Fortune interview series. I'm your host Darren Ross, and today I'm honored to have a great guest and a friend of mine, Nate Harrison. And we're actually in the home of Nate and his wife Jessica today in Kansas City. And I'm just going to set the stage real quick, Nate, on how you and I met. I think it was probably 3 or 4 months ago. We actually, some common friends of ours had a small group Bible study, and we showed up, and I got there, and there was really no place to sit. And I had to take a seat on the fireplace, little mantle part of the fireplace, and I noticed, there's this guy over in the corner sitting in a chair, and I saw he had a walker, and I didn't really think anything about it, and I thought, maybe, you had a broken ankle, or maybe you had foot surgery or whatever, so we proceeded to go through our small group Bible study, and after it was over, I just happened to look down, and I noticed that you were missing a leg, and so, after everything was over, I decided, to start talking to you, and I think we talked, 45 minutes to an hour that first night?
Yeah.
And the story you told me was just phenomenal. I couldn't believe it, and we're going to get into that here in this interview series. But tell us just real quick a little bit about your family, and then we'll get into your background and your career, and then kind of what your past 10 months have looked like.
See, I'm married to my wife, Jessica. We've been married almost 15 years now. We have 3 boys. Peyton is our oldest. He's 11. Corwin is our middle boy. He's 8. And then our youngest is Truman, and he's 4 years old.
I love that name.
Yeah.
Truman. That's awesome.
Then let's see, background. I was kind of raised in a Christian home. My dad died pretty early on. I think he was, I don't even remember how old he was, but I was 14 when he passed away. He had stomach cancer. And then I was raised through my high school, went to a Christian private school, then got out and just went straight to work. I had thought about going to college. I was planning on going to college before, going to Air Force ROTC out in Boulder. It never worked out. So I just started working, and after a little while, I think ever since I was little, I always planned on going in the military. I always liked that idea, always wanted to serve, especially after watching Top Gun. I was like, man, I just want to join the Naval Air Force, as me and my cousin called it. We were like, man, we want to be Maverick, But anyway, so as I was working, I was like, man, I want to go into the military. Well, I went to the Air Force recruiter, didn't like him. He was just a total dick.
Bleep!
Yeah. And
that's why we have editing software.
Yeah. I'll try and watch that. So I went right next door to the Marine Corps recruiter, and I just really liked him. He was very open and honest with me. So I thought, well, I'll still go back and talk to the Air Force recruiter. It was like I was a waste of time being there. He had more business being somewhere else. He didn't want to be there. So I went back and talked to the Marine Corps recruiter. Never really thought about going to the Marine Corps, but I just really liked it. We really hit it off. So I said, you know what, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the Marine Corps. So I enlisted in late 2002. I didn't leave until early 2003. I wanted to wait till our first year anniversary because I knew I'd probably miss some in the future. So I went off to boot camp, did all that. Ended up going to Iraq in 05 into 06. Went to Fallujah. Planned on staying in the Marine Corps, but the way it just worked out, my particular MOS only had so many spots. And my buddy took the last one. So I was like, well, I'm getting out then. So I came back to Kansas City, got a job here doing the same thing I did in the Marine Corps. I was a machinist. So I did that for a long time. Really loved it. But I always knew that's not what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a cop. And I actually had pursued it before going into the Marine Corps. but it just didn't quite work out. I ended up pulling my application. Anyway, so I finally applied at the police department. It was a long process. I think it took close to 2 years to get hired on. Finally got hired on, went through the academy, just loved it, loved my job, loved being a police officer. And then let's see, in December of 2015, so this last December, almost a year ago.
About 10 months ago.
Yep. It was just so nice. I mean, kind of like the weather we have right now. I'm just perfect motorcycle riding weather. I had a 1700 Yamaha. It was a cruiser style, kind of similar to a Harley. And a friend of mine, oddly enough, I was in the police academy with him. He was in my same class. For a different city, but he was still in my class. He is now a paramedic for Kansas City Fire Department, which he was previously. But it was great weather, so we just went out riding all day long. We stopped for lunch, went riding some more, stopped for dinner, went riding some more. Until it got so late, we decided to split up. He had to work the next day, and I was taking my wife and boys to St. Louis to see my uncle. So we split ways. He lived way south Kansas City. Of course, I live way north. So I was right around the Grandview Triangle. I'm not sure exactly where I was. But I was getting off on the exit to start heading back north, and I'm not sure exactly what it was, if it was debris on the road. I kind of highly doubt that, because I was always very cautious of what was in front of me all the time. Or it was possibly another driver that started to swerve over into my lane. Maybe they were on their cell phone, were texting, dropped their phone, something. I don't know exactly. But whatever happened, I locked up both of my brakes and swerved it hard to the left, and went off to the side of the exit ramp, and there was a space in the guardrail just wide enough for my bike, and I went right through there, and I'm not sure what exactly happened or what I hit. I know I went airborne, and I hit one of the big green highway signs with a little reflective lettering on it. Extremely hard. Put a pretty good dent in it, and I hit it so hard that I broke the sign down. I mean, it came down.
And that's one of those big highway signs in the middle of the median.
Mm-hmm. That tell you, the next exit coming up, or
so they're
whatever.
well built and strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't imagine I was going too fast. There was times I did speed, but since I was exiting, I imagine I couldn't have been going more than 50 or 60, which is still fast, and that's fast to hit a sign.
Mm-hmm.
Hits a sign, put a pretty good dent in it. I lost my right leg, I believe right there from the impact of the sign, below my knee. I fell down, broke my ankle on my left foot, and at that time I still could see. Now I will say I don't remember any of this part yet. I hope I do, because I'm curious. I want to know exactly what happened that brought on the accident. But a lot of it is just what I've been told, except for what I'll tell you about here in a minute. So I knew I could see at that time. Currently, right now, I cannot see. I made it back to my bike, and they knew that from the blood trail that I left, which I imagine was pretty significant. Made it back to my bike, and I mean, it was a straight line. I wasn't going, I wasn't weaving from side to side. I went straight there, and I knew I was hurt. I don't think I knew how bad I was hurt. I don't even know if I knew I didn't have a leg anymore. But I knew I had to get to my bike to get my phone to call for help. So I started looking around for my phone, couldn't find it. It ended up being about a foot to maybe 2 feet from my bike. I don't know which direction it was, but so I never could find it. I don't think I was necessarily supposed to find it. So while I'm laying there trying to find my phone, I remember there being a really bright light above me, and I remember thinking, well, this is odd that a street light's on. Not so strange though, because it was in the middle of the night or very, very early in the morning by that time. So of course the street lights would be on. And I also imagine I was going in and out of consciousness at this time, just from the sheer trauma and blood loss. But as I kept coming to, I noticed this light above me kept getting bigger and bigger. And before long, it was as big as the whole sky. I could look in every direction, north, south, east, and west, and every degree in between. And there was this light. And it wasn't, it was a beautiful light. It wasn't painful. It wasn't like the sun. I knew it wasn't the sun. And I definitely know the sun doesn't get that big anyway. But as it keeps, it just kept getting bigger. And I noticed as I looked up, I saw these huge gates that were made of gold, solid gold. And they were very intricate.
Like how big were they?
They were huge. I can't even think of something to compare them to, but they were enormous. And they were big way off. They kept getting closer, and so they obviously kept getting bigger. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this is very weird. And they were opened away from me, so they were
inward.
The gates were open.
Inward.
Yes, they opened inward. And as it got closer and closer, I saw somebody just sitting, just right inside. And as they get closer and closer, I noticed they had a beard. And I thought, man, is this Jesus? Am I getting ready to see Jesus? This is insane. Because I knew by the gates that they're gold. This is heaven. This is the gates of heaven. And as he kept getting closer, I noticed it wasn't Jesus. For me at this time, I think it was better than seeing Jesus. Now, granted, nothing is better than seeing Jesus. It's gonna be awesome seeing Jesus, and nothing can compare to that. But for me, I think it was pretty awesome. As he kept getting closer, like I said, I noticed it wasn't Jesus. It was my dad, who's been dead at that time for almost 20 years.
Did it look like your dad when you remember?
Oh yes, he has a full beard, same color as mine. At the time of his death, he was kind of balding, so his hair was pretty thin on top, and he was getting a kind of a thin spot in the back, but it wasn't thin at all. It was nice and full, had this nice full beard. At one time, he was pretty overweight. He was well over 260. He was a big guy anyway, but he definitely was overweight. And I don't say that as being he was just ginormous. He was just a blubber. He was big anyway. Mm-hmm. He was 6'2". But then when he died from cancer, he was probably about 70 pounds.
Oh wow!
He was just bones and the skin over his bones. That was it. So it was a stark difference between the two. But he wasn't either. He was just perfect. His skin was perfect tone. His beard was nice and full and perfect. And he was just sitting there, like on I don't know what it was. It was a little stool or something. I couldn't see it. And he was wearing white, all white. It was like a white robe or a gown or something that was white, that was very radiant. And he was just sitting there with a smile on his face. He had this very unique smile that everybody knew. He was very friendly. He could walk into a room of complete strangers and walk out with 2 or 3 really good friends, because that was just him. That was just how he was. So he was sitting there with his arms out, waiting to hug me, and I believe he was waiting to grab me and take me into heaven. That's why he was there. And so, this is just the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. And even every time I've told it or talked about it, I get cold chills, because it's just amazing. And so I'm reaching up to grab him, and our fingers get within about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of touching. I mean, that's how close. I mean, it was like that. And then all of a sudden, everything went completely black. And I was just like, what in the hell? This is crazy. And then all of a sudden, I felt a real extreme shock through my whole body. And it wasn't like from my head to my toe. It was all at once. And I wouldn't say it was painful, but it was definitely a shock. And my chest jumped up and my back arched, and then it came back down. And I was like, what in the world? And then I started seeing some lights above me. I was laying on my back, and I started seeing some lights above me. And I couldn't see real clearly. I could make out 2 figures above me. I couldn't tell, the color of their hair or the color of their skin, but I could tell they looked like they were wearing some type of uniform or something like that. It was definitely uniform-ish. They weren't just wearing street clothes. And at that time, I was in the back of the ambulance, and I believe I was shocked with a defibrillator, because when they found me, I've met 2 of the paramedics that picked me up, and because there was 3, there was 1 driving, and they said they thought I was dead when they got to me.
You had a lot of blood loss too.
Yes, I pretty much lost all of my blood. They couldn't even hear my heartbeat with a stethoscope.
Now, you told me they had to do a sonogram to
Yep,
find a heartbeat?
Yep. Once I got to the ER, they just did a sonogram over my heart, and I don't even know if it was really a beat, but it just fluttered. And the doc was like, all right, he's still going. We got to save this dude.
So how long were you in the hospital?
A long time. Trying to think. I think I could be wrong, but I think I was in the hospital definitely all the rest of December into January, I believe. And I believe it was late January, maybe early February, that I went to Madonna, which is a rehabilitation hospital in Lincoln, Nebraska.
And you were there for what, a few months, right?
I was there almost 2 months. And by that time, I had lost my sight completely. When I was at Research Hospital, and this is just a side note, it's kind of funny, I was born at Research in 1981 and almost died then because I was extremely premature. I was 3 months premature, which was pretty much unheard of then. I mean, if it happened, you just didn't survive.
Right.
So I almost died then, and then fast forward almost 35 years later, I almost died there again. So they took me to the same hospital, and I crashed numerous times in the hospital. Many times I got CPR and I had to try and start my heart again and things like that. But anyway, went up to Madonna up in Lincoln, Nebraska, and spent almost 2 months there. And went from the top floor, more like an actual hospital. There's a lot of nurses there, always checking your blood pressure, stuff like that, to moving down. And I did rehab up there. Then they moved me down to the first floor, which is just more strictly rehab. There's not a lot of nurses there always checking on you. They did have those there, but it's all strictly rehab. So I had to start getting up, getting out of my bed, out of a wheelchair. I think the first time I stood up, it was on some parallel bars. It was maybe 30 seconds, and that was a big deal. And I was just extremely weak. My upper body was weak, and my leg was very weak. I think at the time of my accident, I think I was right around 155, maybe 160 pounds. And at one point, I believe I was down to like 110 pounds, maybe 115. So I was very weak, lost an extreme amount of weight. They estimate that my leg was about 20 pounds, maybe a little bit more, which I was blown away by that. I didn't think a leg would weigh that much, but it's got the biggest bone in our body. There's a lot of...
So you lost a lot of weight just from that.
A lot of muscles, yeah. A lot of ligaments and just everything.
So you had this happen. So if you're in, from the time it happened until the time you're in rehab, it's about 3 months. And then you get out and they let you come home, right? So
came home the day before Easter.
So my question is, the day before Easter, 2016?
Yep.
So my question is, how do you find the forgiveness, the faith, and keep the perseverance going? Because when I met you, I met you in July, so that was only 4 months after you'd gotten out of rehab.
Right.
And I mean, the night I met you, it was like you had the most upbeat attitude and positive outlook I've ever seen. So I just want to know how you have find the faith, forgiveness, and the perseverance for all this.
It's definitely from God, for sure. I can't really describe anything more than that. I'm definitely only here because of him. I know he's got some big plan for me. I don't know what it is, but I look forward to finding out what it is. I know my good friend that I was riding with, he got saved, and
because of your
yes,
incident.
because of my wreck, he might not have ever come to faith. Besides that might be the reason I was in this accident. I don't think he was the type of person that somebody could just come to his door and witness to him and he would get saved. But he saw how I was and how Jessica was, and our relationship, and he's like, you know what, I want what you guys have. And that's pretty cool. And I know there's more people that have gotten saved that I don't know about. I'll know about them someday when I get to heaven. And that's, I think that right there is what makes it worth it for me.
You went through a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And, I definitely have bad days. There's times that, there's not a day that goes by that I'm not in some form of pain. Sometimes it's not always physical pain. Sometimes it's spiritual pain, psychological pain, emotional pain. So there's always pain. But I know because of it, I understand what Christ went through a little bit with his pain. They killed him on the cross and did all kinds of other things to him, a crown of thorns and a spear in his side, and he went through all that willingly. He didn't have any pain medicine like I did, and I was in a lot of pain, and I still had pain medicine. So I understand that, and he did it all willingly for me and for you, for everybody, for the people that put him on that cross. So I can understand that a little bit more. It's more than just a story. Okay, yeah, Christ was on the cross and he had a lot of pain. Okay, now I know it. Because I can relate a little bit more. It's nothing compared to his pain, but I can relate a little bit more.
I can't imagine what you had to go through at all.
Yeah.
Much less him.
So I think that's part of the outlook that I have, and it's very good. And like I said, I don't always have good days. A lot of days I have really bad days, and I'm mad. I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at my wife. I'm mad at my boys. I'm mad at God. There's days I've cussed at God, because this sucks. I hate what happened to me. there's not one day that I'm glad that it happened. Numerous times I've asked God, why me? Why couldn't it have been somebody else that this happened to? But it's not somebody else. It is me. So it is stuff that I'm dealing with, and that's okay. I can't change it, so I might as well make the best of it. Try and do everything that I can, like I said, to make the best of it.
So you've had some, I kind of keep up with you guys, you and your wife Jessica, on Facebook, and you guys have had some, I would call them pretty good accomplishments in the last few months. You got your new prosthetic leg. I don't know if we can see it in the video or not, but it has KCPD on it, and what else? You said it has your the Marine symbol on there too. So you've gotten your new prosthetic, and then you went rock climbing.
Yep, I've been rock climbing. I've gone skydiving
I was
twice.
Say you went skydiving.
Jumped out of a plane
That's
twice
I would never do.
in 1 week. The first
Twice in
time,
1 week?
Yep, the first time was on my 35th birthday, which was
Awesome.
very cool. It was a very exciting birthday. And then I went a week later, and it was even better. We went even higher, so our free fall was more than twice what the first one was, and it was just amazing. And I look forward to going more. So we'll see what the future has as far as that goes.
That's
But
another question I was going to get into. What do you see for your future goals and ambitions? Kind of like what's next? The first night I met you, within the first 20 minutes, you said you have dreams and aspirations of maybe doing some motivational speaking and writing a book.
Yeah.
So what do you see that's next for you at this stage in the next year and a half?
as far as next, I'm not sure. I know I'm getting ready to go to Chicago to a VA hospital up there that's for blind people or for visually impaired, and they'll teach me everything I want to do.
And you go there alone, you told me.
Yep, anything
wife
except
doesn't go with
driving. Yep. So I'll be up there by myself. I'll have my own room, bathroom, everything. They'll provide all the food and everything. Their goal is, kind of their last deal is, they say you'll be able to walk around downtown Chicago, mind you, by yourself, completely blind.
I don't even like walking around downtown Chicago by myself.
Yeah, and that's just, it blows my mind. So
That's pretty
it's going to
amazing,
be it's going to be very cool to go. I don't know how long I'll be there. It maybe a couple months. It may be 6 months. We just don't know. I know at the end of it, the last few days, they'll fly my wife out there so I can show her all the things that I've learned.
Hey, did you tell me too that you may end up getting a dog?
Yes.
Special dog?
Yep. When I get back, the VA is going to get me a service dog. They'll send me wherever they're trained, and I know they're trained all over the country. But I'll actually spend a couple days working with service dogs, learning the commands I need to use, and then I'll actually pick out my own service dog, and I'll bring it home, and
So-
that will be pretty cool.
I look at the first night I met you. I told my wife all your story, and I couldn't believe it. My daughter was there, my little daughter, and she was 11, and she was just awestruck by what she was hearing and what you've been through, but yet how you were upbeat and positive. So you have people today that people are so worried about what's going on social
Right.
media and who's doing what and who's getting what and who's buying what and where they're traveling. Am I going to get that job promotion? Is my kid going to make the varsity team? Are they going to get into this college? Kind of unpack that whole thing, what people perceive and what you've gone through, and what's really the focus people should be focusing on.
I think definitely my outlook has changed a lot. I think my wife's outlook has changed a lot. My boys' outlook on life has changed a lot. And I think I was a lot like most people. I definitely worked all the time, to earn money to get a nice house and cars and things like that, provide for my family like I'm supposed to. But then other things just kind of got in the way of life. People would piss me off, or that guy cuts you off on the highway, and you start cussing at him, yelling at him, giving him two fingers or whatever. And everybody gets so worked up about that stuff, or everybody's worked up about the upcoming elections and just whatever it is. But really, none of that matters. And that's one thing that I've learned. None of that crap matters. The only thing that matters is God and the people you love. Your family and your friends. And that's one thing that I've seen through all this. Those are the ones that I can count on. I can definitely count on God. I don't know what He's going to do, but I can count on Him. He's always going to be there. When I fall, He's going to pick me up. And same with my friends and family. My close friends and family. And that's not to say that we haven't lost some friends, because we have. Friends that have been close. But I think they just didn't know what to do or how to handle the situation that we're in. And I get that, and I'm not really upset by that. I know I've got a lot of other people that are bending over backwards for us. I mean, constantly have people asking me, is there anything you need? Can I come over and mow your yard? And we've got a friend that used to go to our church that works part-time at a lawn business, and he just said, I'm coming over and we're going to mow your yard for free. And that's just amazing. That's something that I can't do right now. And it's just little things like that. People are willing to help out wherever they can. My work has been fantastic.
I know the story you told me about your work and how you were getting compensated.
Yeah,
really kind of blew me away.
Yeah, the Kansas City Police Department has been fantastic. They've kept me on. I'm still hired.
And tell us about the vacation that you got from all your fellow officers.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
So each one of us earn vacation days and sick days, and our sick days we have to use up by the end of the year, or we lose them. But when somebody is sick, or has a traumatic event in their life, they have cancer, or their kid has cancer, things like that, people donate sick days. And it's not just 5 or 6 people, it's a whole department. And we'll also do that with money. Sometimes, somebody's having a hard time, we'll throw a couple bucks in a pool. Well, you multiply that by 400 or 500 people, that can be a lot of money. Same with sick days. So
how much time did you get?
They gave me over 2 years of sick time, and that's actual days that I would be working, not just that doesn't include weekends and things like that. And it's just amazing. And
that's true generosity.
Numerous times I've been asked, including by our president of our Fraternal Order of Police, our police union, asked me if I need more days. I'm like, no, I think I'm good. I really appreciate the hell out of what you guys have done for me. But they're like, if you need more, let me know. We'll get you more. I'm like, that just blows my mind. That's a closer brotherhood than I had even in the Marine Corps. Wow. And that was a pretty close brotherhood. But this was even closer. And the police department has just been awesome.
For our audience listening today, what is one, you can do one or two, what's one takeaway that you would like to give before we end this interview?
One would be trust God. Whatever He's doing in your life or this world, we don't understand. We may not like it. But He has a reason for it. And overall, everything will work out in the end. With God, all things are possible. And that is really true. And I've seen that extremely evident in my life over the last year. That, and then don't get so caught up in daily life and work and things like that to forget about things that matter. Your family and your close friends. Take time for them. Love them no matter what. It doesn't matter what they do. You know, I mean, your kid could go rob a bank. Love them anyway. You know, they need that love, and they see the love from their family. I mean, that's a example of love for God, because God loves us no matter what we do. So those would be the two things that I would say I've taken away from this last year for sure.
Nate, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. There you go, folks. He's Nate Harrison. Just remember this: turn your challenges into redirection. Do like Nate. I mean, you're never going to quit, are you?
No.
He's never going to quit. Never quit. You know, get back on the path. You know, I want to thank Nate and Jessica Harrison for opening up their home to us, for just being part of this interview. I want to thank you, our audience, for listening. And I just would like for you to continue to spread the word. I'd like for you to subscribe to IdeasToFortune.com. On Facebook, Ideas to Fortune. You can share, comment, or like. We have a YouTube channel at Ideas to Fortune. We're trying to build this awesome tribe, and we'll just see you guys on the next episode.